Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Block Party number 168. This is the after party to the after party. So someone like Victor might call it after party squared relative to the start is near podcast episode 13. I need to break away for a bit, but I shall return. In the meanwhile, you're in good hands with Marco and everyone here. Love you all. See you all in a bit. Thanks.
Give a hug to the little kangaroo.
Oh, thank you. I will do. Will do. Thanks so much. See you all in a bit. Love to all. And James, drink some coffee or something. We need you here. You can sleep in tomorrow. Okay. See you all soon. Thanks.
Empty kettle on as we speak.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, that's right. That's what I need. Tea.
I call Jamin's little dog the little kangaroo. I love that dog so much.
I could have swore it was a kangaroo that day he had it in that baby carrier.
And I love all of you. Hello. I'm here. I wanted to say hi, Sienna, Marco, Victor, Michael, Jack. There's so many people. And Jerry, I don't think I know you. Hello. I think I know everyone else. Have we met?
I don't think so.
No, hello. I'm Lena.
Oh, good. Good to meet you.
As well. Where are you located?
I'm presently in Pennsylvania, but the background behind me is in Puerto Rico.
Oh, gorgeous.
We have a monastery we're creating there, and we've been given 10,000 acres of the jungle that you see behind me.
What is your project?
It's the Mystic Monastery we're the first monastery in history that has combined monastic and indigenous wisdom together.
Whoa.
Yes.
I need more info. Today's been such a blessed day for me. So many projects, new, beautiful, emergent projects that I'm finding out about. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm also quite involved with creating a benefit concert for the Amazon, because at the present moment in the Amazon, there is serious malnutrition, 74% in the upper Amazon. 50% of the children under 5 are anemic. And they recently had a boy come into the hospital who was 10 years old, weighing 17 pounds.
I worked in the jungles of Sri Lanka,
Mm.
not in the Amazon, but I know projects in the Amazon as well. So yeah, I understand the work that you're doing and how alarming it is when you run into those situations. You uncover more and more people that are starving.
Out of the upper Amazon, the river that they drink out of the water is black.
Yes.
From the upstream mining going on.
Yes, I knew 2 journalists who came home with really bad, grave parasites that could only be treated by specialists. So those waters can be lethal, and it's really, really heartbreaking. Women sometimes travel 10 to 15 miles every week to out into the mountains to get water. So I'm fully aware of the struggle both in the Amazon and in Southeast Asia. But with that said, what you're doing is absolutely incredible. I would love to get more info if you can put it in the chat, or if you want to speak a little too, if you haven't already.
Yeah, one question, Jerry. Haven't I seen you on Scott Katamas's program?
Yeah, times, yes.
That's where I know you from.
Yes. Well, just a little bit then about the actual concert. What has happened in the Amazon, why the malnutrition is so bad, is because they've had a drought. And not because of them not being able to grow things, but when there's a drought, as long as there's just been, the canoes cannot go in the river to go get supplies and back from the supply places. So they're literally kind of cut off. And over the last 30, 40 years, the tribes in the Amazon have stopped putting emphasis on hunter-gathering skills because they've been importing food from the food that we eat. And so therefore they've lost many skills of to what's, useful to eat, how to hunt, how to do many things that they've kind of lost in the last 30 years in the Amazon. We're hoping to do a concert similar to the Live Aid was for Ethiopia and Africa back 20, 30 years ago for the Amazon this time. And hopefully we can bring in some big headliners and so forth for
If you
this.
If you send me your email, I have connections. One of my really good friends started what was called Fashion for Conservation. She's a fashion designer and artist based in New York City, and they traveled. She's actually married to an Amazonian right now and lives in she lives in the jungle. She had a baby. She like did this big project and then ran away to the jungle and actually lives with the tribe now, but still does work in New York. So yeah, and she knows, I mean, as far as organizing concerts, I bet if you need any help, send me your email. I'll write mine and I can link you up. Yeah, she's currently, I think though, she's in Peru. So,
I
but
just put my email in the chat.
yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing. We need to bring more art and culture to more awareness through art and culture.
Yes. Well, the property, the 10,000 acres we've been given is the exact, what you might call the holy lands for the tribe before Columbus arrived. This is the area where their mythology all took place on this river behind me called the Tanama River. It's one of the few rivers in the world that flows north and it goes 3 times through a mountain. Here you can see it passing a mountain one time, but there's one time that it passes 1 kilometer underground before it comes out. And we're just south of the Arecibo telescope, if you're familiar with where it's at in Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yes. My joy.
Oh,
How has your area fared through the storms the last few times?
We've had to spend enormous amount of time and money to clear the damage, especially from Hurricane Maria. It was they had 100-mile-an-hour wind plus for 24 hours straight, so that was pretty intense.
Yes, as many times as you got hit in a row, it seems like you barely even get back up on your feet before you're knocked down again.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the amazing blessings of our property is that even though we're in the middle of the tropics, we have no bugs. We don't have mosquitoes. We don't have flies. We don't have any bugs at all. And the reason is our area has the 8th largest population of bats in the world. And we have 8 species of bats on our property.
Okay, cool. So you actually have bugs enough to feed all those bats.
Yes.
But
And
all
frogs. We have tons of frogs. We have the famous toad also on our property.
but all the bats eat all the bugs, so then there's no
Yeah.
bug. That's amazing.
That sounds like where I need to be.
Temperature never goes below 60 and never above 85, 88 degrees. Perfect temperature.
Mm.
I may have to come visit.
Yes. You have to do that.
Victor, how are you, my friend? Hello.
Doing okay. Thank you, Lena.
Yeah.
Hanging out and yeah, earlier today we were talking about the what to do with these conversations. And so I am starting to play with Notion. I think maybe that would be a good place to like interact with the conversational content. So that's what I'm doing.
I know that through the organic flow of of this room, I have made some of the most valuable connections of my life. So whatever they become will probably be amazing. But for me, it's kind of been a game-changing space. I was grateful and lucky to meet Marco in person, and yeah, others, no one else in person yet, but I'm meeting a few others, and I've been able to really cultivate my passion and connect with others, and yeah, it's been really beautiful. So I'm curious too,
Yeah,
to where they'll evolve.
you've met Michelle, so that's two.
Oh, I met Michelle. No, well, technically I didn't meet her here. I met her through you. And then I met her in person. But still, yeah. The networks keep building. And I think what we could do eventually is maybe create a map. You know, we all work on projects, we're all here. We could take each individual and kind of map out what they're doing and create a system map, you know, and of the conversation room, and, you know, starting with Jamin, Marco, the core leaders, and eventually see how maybe we can merge projects and create like a cohesive whole, you know. I mean, I've always envisioned that for this space. And with Jamin's after parties, you know, like, yeah, create like a structure, but create a structure for the block party, and just, yeah. But who knows?
Are you familiar with oneworld.earth?
Yes, actually, recently
Yeah,
Uh,
because they're connecting like an umbrella of many, many small groups like this.
Yes. Well, I just got out of a day of meetings with my friend Sid has this organization called Permatours, and it's really beautiful because she leads talks and helps people with projects, and it's a DAO, and yeah, so it's a decentralized organization, and it creates a network of projects to kind of, you know, and people, and a collective of people whose mission it is to help the planet. And today we were talking about flow funding, right? And that's kind of, so we're creating a fund that's all collectively organized and like distributed, and that flow funding was actually created by Marion Rockefeller a long time ago, and she funded the 13th Indigenous grandmothers, and she funded, I mean, a lot of really amazing pioneering projects were funded through environmental projects were funded through flow funding. So I just had a 3-hour session on flow funding with Permatours. Yeah, so that's an organization that is really, despite being decentralized, it's really like cohesive. And as far as the conversation group and like the idea of the after parties, I think, yeah, all we really need at this point is a system map, a way to kind of organize the data, because we're taking the data in, right? We have so much data right now. So we have this beautiful collective, right? Maybe Victor, you know, I feel intuitively that you might know a bit about, you know, we've been talking, and I've heard talking about organizational systems, AI, and different systems that we could bring in to organize, or better said, archive and curate this group, and then archive the information. We need an archive, like, right? So maybe Victor, you can speak a bit on that, because, or not, I just intuitively passing the feather.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I feel like you're right. I feel like the making connections between people and projects and, you know, helping resources and attention flow like where it's most needed, like is helped by having what you described. So at the moment, I'm not going to say a lot more about it. Just like I'm in the process of trying to build something. So I'll,
Yeah.
I'll be building. I'm
Do you
here.
know that,
Oh,
do you know
beautiful.
that Zoom has a AI assistant built in that will make a summary of who said what?
Yeah, and we need to take those summaries. Where do we put them, right? Like, we need to collectivize, like, we need to take those summaries and create a database, and that's a little more evolved, I think, to take it to the next level, right? Create maybe as simple as creating a website. And my vision would be an interactive website, right? Where we can all collectively come in, kind of like Wikipedia, right? But specifically for the conversation room. That's something that if somebody could build that, and like Sienna said, network network on Twitter and create the network through both social media. But in order for the social media to thrive, I think we need that archive. And we each need to, I mean, it's a group of people. Like, I would love to just see every person who walks through this door put down their mission. Like, what is your vision? Like, Victor, this is my vision. This is who I am. And there be a website, the conversation, right? These are the people who are involved. Who are we? What do we do? And then eventually, how do we come together? From Jamin's story, like this is all vision off of the top of my head, but there's power in story in people's individual stories, right? And how they connect to their projects, because what I sense and intuit, feel and think is all of them is that, yeah, we are here because we care. Each one of us has a soul purpose. How does our soul purpose translate into the work that we do? And I would love to collect stories and then about each individual in here as well, and maybe publish a little either online or publish the story of the conversation. Sienna? Hello, my dear.
Hi, beautiful Lena. How are you? I don't think that you got on James' space the other night, but
Oh.
he hosted a space on sharing your story.
Really?
And it was, yeah, on X, and it was such a profound space. So you're obviously on the same wavelength, because he just agreed today to start doing it every week, making it a recurring thing every Friday. So it was very, very profound. I mentioned earlier, there were at least 2 or 3 comments that equated to, this is the most important conversation I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it was James's very first space. So it's pretty cool. It went for several hours. I don't think it was recorded, but yeah, if I could just speak for another minute. Sorry, I know I tend to be really wordy, but now that we're not on like a time limit, yeah, what I see X as having the potential to do is exactly what's happening here. But I really love the idea of kind of starting there, and then kind of moving over to Zoom for the after party. And one could be a block party. I don't know. There's all these cute names for things, but it's, when you're after like the deeper conversation, which I think is what the Paul Beckwith, and I mean, most of these conversations are going to be pretty profound. I hope they're going to be profound. But that to me is not an after party, the profound part, so they could share their videos or their vision, up on the big screen. And if whoever's not familiar with X, they just added they've always had like a billboard at the top of the space. And then a comment section down below. But yesterday they added a huge video banner up top. So the host, say Paul Beckwith, could sit there with a whiteboard and go through a whole presentation if he wants. while all the speakers down below could gear up for like a Q&A session. And then at the end, this is what I was saying. They basically say, okay, this part of the segment is over, and now we're going to move it to Zoom, and we're going to have splinter sessions. And then they put a link up, where the image of whoever the host was or the guest. And then you just put a link up there for Zoom. Everybody moves over to Zoom. It's a pretty simple process, and you could even get it to the point where certain individuals have, because they have certain contacts within that group, they could automatically follow separate Zoom spaces, if that makes sense, but under the same umbrella. I don't know. I know I haven't been a part of these conversations, so I don't mean to speak out of turn. I'm just rambling. So that's kind of what I see.
I just wanted to kind of answer to that. Sorry if I spoke up too quickly, but I think there's a huge importance in X and all of these social network sites, especially X right now, in getting your message across. But I think the real conversation, like for me, the real conversations that happen in my networks are decentralized. They're either in the small groups or in on Discord, for example, or through my Signal and WhatsApps. Like that's where the real heated conversations lie. And then what happens is through those conversations, presentations are created, right? And then you present the output of those conversations on Twitter. I really would just like to slightly just not argue, but at all. I think you're right, but I think we need to also look at Twitter. To me, it's more of a presentation site where you present and this is an incubator, right? We're creating the ideas and we're kind of inspiring vision and collecting. That's always how I've seen it, and that's how I'm starting to see my Facebook, Instagram, social media, my website. That's where these are my talk spaces, and then those are where I present the final information in my final project. But that's just where I am in my journey, and I might be a little behind too, so for now. But I'm not behind as much as I'm also really slow and meticulous in the work that I do. So yeah. But I think you're right. And I'm noticing that I'm missing out on a lot of conversation on X actually too. But you can't do everything. Sienna, can you tell me how do we, that's my question. How do we go to every talk all at once? We need to clone ourselves.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like one of the conversations I'm trying to have. I mean, because I'm part of so many different communities.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I kind of bridge the divide? I mean, how do I connect everybody? And that's kind of why, I mean, I don't know when you joined, but we were talking about, Jamin has mentioned the splinter sessions within the Zoom after parties, but I'm trying to kind of promote the idea of having splinter sessions within this group, to still have the big collective series, but my Mark, Hope, and I, and it's Jamin. I mean, the conversations I have with them are not so much related to just the after party. So it's just put out the topic. Somebody had mentioned earlier, having surveys of what we think are most important, or what our most important, topics are. And because it's going to be different for everybody. And that way, we can have maybe more specialized kind of subsets of people working on, because to me, I see this as a collective, and I can't remember who said it. It was a very wise gentleman. I think he just left. He basically said, is there some kind of structure And to me, it's not so much like, like a typical president and vice president kind of thing. It's more, these are the philosophers, these are the scientists, these are the kind of AI futurists, because everybody's going to have a different perspective. And, for me, AI is, and it's only because I've been on these spaces, on X for 4 months. I mean, I never would have even cared about AI or robotics. It's just, it was not on my radar. But Elon Musk was on my radar because I'm like, okay, he has the platform, he has the passion, the persuasion, he has, I think, humanitarian goals in mind. But I'm like, let me pay attention. And so I've listened, and I'm not kidding, to hundreds of hours of these people, the top names in AI, have conversations, hundreds of hours. So it's not so much a threat as long as the right people, and this is the thing that they most talk about. It's like, just make sure that the right minds are the ones kind of programming the algorithms for AI to focus on the common good first. I mean, first and foremost, because it's not like it's rogue AI. It is somebody put in an algorithm that allowed AI to, veer just a little bit off path, and a little bit turns into a lot of it when you talk about like AGI, which is what we are nearing. And that is when it's like general intelligence. I mean, the robots that they're creating, that are going to be in homes within the next couple of years, will very soon learn our patterns and our customs and our routines, and they will start to kind of anticipate our needs. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's just what's about to happen. So, it's just really smart of, if we could start factoring that in and kind of staying ahead of it. And the only way I know how to do that is sit in these conversations with Adrian Dittman. And I can't recommend enough, if you are curious about, all things future related. Yeah.
I would love to just welcome Nan, who came in really quickly, and then we can continue. Hello, Nan.
Well, hey, Claudia.
Is that Claudia?
Yeah.
Oh, Nan Claudia. I know Claudia.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, just wanted to welcome you. Because I saw you pop in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good to hear everybody, and I'm just kind of taking track of the conversation.
Okay.
Thanks.
Your voice is so important here. And also Danny, I think Sienna and I were I wanted to give room. Jack is still here, Michael, Victor, James, hello, and Danny, Jerry. Danny, would you like to speak? I have this intuitive, I haven't heard your voice.
I was here for like a year when I don't know, when they were in 2020, I think.
Yeah.
And, I stopped for like a year, got back, but I don't know. Yeah, I think I was gone for about a year. Is that right, Marco?
Something like that. And then you were back for a little bit and then kind of gone again. This is like now 4 years since I've been here.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow.
So we're around.
What do you envision for the conversation room since you've been? I'm kind of a newbie myself. What do you envision? What would you like to see in the future other than the after parties? Like, what does this room mean to you, and how would you like it to move forward?
Well, I come to listen, learn, and express.
Listen
Um,
and express.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that what we do is develop like a network or a network of networks,
Yeah.
and get the message out and actually start, changing people's minds, or inviting them really to come into our vision, our vision of equality and peace on earth, et cetera, is so much more lively than death, doom, fascism, you know, the money game, and killing the planet. So I don't hold out a whole lot of hope for changing people's minds, but I do hold out the hope that the people who have the openness to have their minds changed will change and will come on with us. That's about it.
Beautiful. Thank you for your voice. And Alan, I see you have a big check mark, a big green check mark. I was curious, did you want to speak, or are you just saying yes, agreeing with us all? Love you, Alan. Are you away? Okay. Yeah, there's so much, everything from we want to create these networks, what I'm hearing, and from Sienna, from Danny, from all of us, right? We want to come together in our mission. And what is our purpose? Our purpose is to create a better world, right? It's that simple, in its complexity, right? Like, who here is against making the world a better place? Anybody? I don't think so. So I think that's something we all share in common, right? We want the world to be better, and we want to connect and create peace and love in our communities. So how do we do that? We all come in and have our own way of doing that, and that's what's beautiful is diversity. But what I think we need right now more than anything is we need to learn how to listen to each other, right? To hold space, to be present with each other. We live in a world which is hyper focused and hyper driven for productivity. How do we stay productive and stay calm in our nervous systems and stay grounded without burning out, right? And that's how I think our message will also come through in a more efficient way, is if we're breathing through our message, right? Just those breaths and the embodiment, the embodied message. What is the embodied message of peace and love? That is my question. Hello, Sienna. I'm not really moderating, so I just took on that role. Marco, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I will pass the feather back to you for moderating.
I'm just gonna address what you said there, Danny, when you said, you know, you don't hold out much hope for changing people's minds. And I think it's just a matter of how you go about it. And I think the way to do it is you change hearts first and then the minds follow.
Presence. Yes. Presencing with others is so vital to spreading the message. Like, I am here right now. I see each and every one of you in your mission to make the world a better place, and it makes me want to cry. And I'm feeling you. I am hearing you. I am seeing you. I am feeling you. And through that, what is happening, I'm embodying the message. Right? Right? Am I wrong? Am I
Wrong.
am I wrong? I'm not right either, so. But Sienna.
Sienna jumped off. Didn't she? Yeah. Yeah, she said she needs to jump off for a bit.
Oh, shake it out, shake the problems of the world out so we can find that peace. and start doing the work, right? Like, I just wanted to bring my heart to Jerry, and once again come back to the work he's doing, linking the, oh my gosh, incredible, linking the monastery, creating the monastery. Could you repeat? It's linking both the secular Eastern religions and the indigenous cultures. Yeah, that is such incredible work, and we need more of that. We need more of the integrated indigenous spaces. Like, it's a huge, huge project. So
The monastery itself is to be a sanctuary for highly sensitive, mature souls. And there are many of them on this dimension right now that are very spiritual and have no idea how to deal with this dog-eat-dog world that we're in. And so the sanctuary of the monastery will be a natural place for them to mature their spiritual self and so forth. And our view from the monastery is that the biggest deficiency in human nature right now is nature.
Yeah.
the biggest deficiency in human nature is nature. But is there a disconnection from human nature and nature? Like, that's my question.
I mean, most people, you can't even ask them what stage the moon is in. They don't even know. You know, that's how disconnected they are from even the astrological events that we see every day going on. And the nice thing is, we have made our monastery a ecclesiastical nation, very similar to the Vatican was created. And so we have the separation of church and state for our monastery, which allows us to have our own rules on the monastery property. And so we will be using entheogens with combined with nature, and with the two of those together, just spending time in the nature, the dots connect all together, and you realize how connected we are to everything.
Mm-hmm.
We do have an area that is so beautiful. Hard to say how beautiful it is, so I say it this way: our property pales most of the national parks we have in the United States.
Mm-hmm. So how would you envision, Jerry? What would you envision as far as your project? What would you envision a room like this, a conversation room, would help your project? Or you, like, why are you here right now? Like, in this room,
Well, I'm like networking out to many more small groups as I have time to, and finding those who have a passion about young people and creating a place for them to spiritually grow and become the saints and healers that they were meant to be.
I'm gonna email you for sure. So I'm gonna grab your email.
And then I can send you information.
Yeah.
I will put in the chat our website, and on our website, we have an 18-page booklet about our project, and it's in 5 different languages. So whatever language,
Mm.
let me put in the net.
Saying for a while now, I'd like to pick up the talking stick or the feather or whatever is being passed around here. Take the word.
Claudia. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Jerry's saying, that a lot of people are just not plugged into nature. And that is a huge rhythm and a huge part of the cycles of our life. In the Mayan cosmovision, we sit there and we say that humans, we're only whole if we're in balance and if we're healthy in the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. If you're not working on all of those, and if you're not in balance, then you're not necessarily whole. It's hard to thrive or to enjoy if you're not in that working on all of those at the same time because there's a deficiency, especially in the north. We very much work on the monetary, the physical, and the mental. Um, and we're definitely lacking in the emotional, and in a lot of areas, the north is well, all places are lacking the spiritual. I've got 42 acres in Ontario, Canada, and it's a spiritual community gathering space. And when we have gatherings and people come out for the weekend, especially from the city, wow, you can see a big difference as the weekend progresses. Just, their body, what it does, their breathing, what it does, their mental state. Um, and I think that if, again, more places can provide that or more people are made aware, to get back to the basics, get back to nature, get in tune with the rhythms that are out there, the natural cycles. I think we'd all be healthier. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad Jerry was here tonight because he reminded me of something that I meant to talk to you about last summer. It's like we need to build bat boxes for your place out there to hold down the bugs. That's what we need to do.
Well, our property has hundreds of caves. One cave is so big that you could actually put a whole stadium inside of it.
Yeah. But still, places that put up bat boxes, they attract them, and that would be something that would really help there, I think. I'd forgotten about that. But yeah, it's not going to compare to the massive amounts you have there, but there's plenty of bugs
Yes, and my property here in Pennsylvania have bat boxes up. One thing I would share with Claudia is that because we are a monastery, we can make what was called priory. That means like a satellite of the monastery, so that her property there could actually fall under a church categorization so that the government could not have its normal kind of entry or rules and regulations on her property. As a protection.
Yeah, I've been looking at that and seeing if we should go nonprofit or what kind of road to go down. I've done some ministerial work before, and um, I'm an initiated Mayan timekeeper and spiritual guide there. Um, so we've been looking at different ways to kind of handle the public or, the community and in which way we want to do it. It's kind of still open.
Well, we've been 6 years in this process of making our own ecclesiastical country, and it is quite a process. The main thing is after you've established it has to be recognized by somebody or country that's significant. And we've already had our property, our country recognized by the United Nations. So
How long have you had the property for?
since 2017.
Okay, we've had ours it'll be 9 years this summer.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we've set up, we've got a 9-ring labyrinth on the property with altar spaces at each of the directions. We've got an ancestor altar. We've got a Mayan mesa. We've got a really neat walking trail and path that's dedicated to the other kin and the elementals, the fairies. Uh, we've got a big, a fire pit where we do gatherings and other kinds of ceremonies. So we just haven't really incorporated or done anything in that way. Right now, we're just kind of open to the public, open to, growing community, but haven't done it, haven't taken it down either ministerial or a temple or nonprofit. We haven't registered it in that way yet.
Well, just one thing I can say there is that the way that you would do it in Canada, I don't know exactly how they do it, but in the United States, a nonprofit is called a 501c3. We're actually a 501c8, which means that it's grandfathered into the old government rules where we do not need to disclose any of our members. We don't have to disclose any donations. We don't have to disclose almost nothing.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if we have something like that in Canada or not.
I don't know. Most countries have a separation of church and state.
I think that the conversation like flows between the two of you for some kind of commonality of purpose. I wonder if the two of you are already involved in a network of such groups.
Yes, I saw Claudia at a couple of the different networks I'm part of too.
It looks like we're getting around.
And I know the first few seasons of Saturday Night Alive, I was over there all the time. I just got so busy over here and with climate healers and all the other groups I work with. It's just kind of my Saturdays got busy. Or it was like the absolute only time I get to rest. Yeah, I miss Scott.
He just went through quite a healing crisis.
Oh, I didn't know.
Is this room at all promoting the gathering, the global peace movement that we're doing in Palenque this year?
Oh, I should have put that link in there. Do you have it handy?
Which link to the GoFundMe
Yeah,
or
the
to
whichever. What's
yeah,
the
I will send you a couple of links
do
here.
you have yours? I should have done that earlier today.
So I will be in Palenque for that gathering. And we've been working really, really hard. I'm on the council of the Union of the Condor, the Eagle, Quetzal, and Hummingbird. So that's been interesting. There you go.
Yeah, I'm so sorry we won't be able to make it this year, Claudia, because it was such a special, special time last year, and it was an
Who
honor.
am I gonna have tea with, James?
I know. I'll have to send you all some tea bags from Ireland. Yeah, no, it was an honor to be there and witness it, and to witness the election of the council and everything, and being such historic and part of indigenous prophecy and everything else, and just being invited there and witnessing it all, and even the unexpected healing, everything, the whole thing was just unbelievably. I can't even put it into words, to be honest with you. But I'm so sorry we won't be able to make it this year. But God willing, next year.
Well, it was so wonderful to have you guys as part of the first weaving. And this year, now that there's a council for it, there's a lot more, it's been a little, the logistics and everything, there's a lot more planning, there's a lot more organization. So it's looking really good. But yes, we hope that you will come and join us next year.
All right.
Yeah, definitely with the help of God. I've shared your GoFundMe link on my Facebook page, all right, but I'm not sure. I'm had a few people say that they haven't seen it on there, so I think my setting's wrong. But I'll double check it. If anyone wants to look at my Facebook page there and see if they can see
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, let me know. All right. So anyway, lovely seeing you again, Claudia. And Danny, my apologies, love. It's been so long, and I know, and I forgot to say hello back to you earlier because I was laughing at what Marco said with the deed with. He was greeting me in Irish, and you know, it's so I forgot to say hi back in the chat to you earlier, Danny. So my
You're,
apologies. And
thank you,
good to
dear.
see you again. Hope you're
Yep.
well, and love to
Thank
see
you.
you. And to Jerry,
Thank you.
Jerry, lovely to meet you. And you know, I'd love to hear more about your work as well. And I'll look up your website, of course, that you put in the chat there as well. And to Victor, now I'm going to come back again and say, as well to Lena, as to her earlier conversation, this is just a typical example of what we're actually trying to achieve here anyway with the Black Party, but in a bigger sense, like in a sense that like with the help of Victor and you know, great minds like you know, Mark and Jacob and all those as well that are, you know, able to build this tech and everything. That's basically what we're doing, what we're actually doing here, and just in the conversations we just had, the amount, you know, the connectivity between us and the you know, the synchronicity, or you know, meeting new people and going, oh, and you're meeting new groups and connecting that way. This is just a small example that we're actually what we're trying to do as a group here now in the you know, this with the podcast and everything, to start this new podcast is to build some form of a system for bringing us all together in such a way as Marco just described very eloquently a while ago by just saying, like, I'm so sorry, I end up having time on, and I didn't have time in my hands on the Saturday. So, you know, we can all make all the conversations that we want to be in, but with the help of these kind of systems, they'll be able to have our own individual requirements within the, you know, the AI will have our own individual requirements, and will be able to place us in the conversations where we need to be at the right time, at the right moments to say the right things. That's basically it, like, and they hear the right things. So I think this is a beautiful example of it all, anyway, on a small scale. So with the help of God, we'll get there and save the planet. Passing the feather.
Well, I'm just gonna say, if everybody can take just a split second and put this thought in their head. And this is for me a personal plea that there are cancellations in front of me for the doctors that I need to see so that I can get a get into the doctor soon enough that I might still make Palenque. Because I found out the procedure I need is only going to take like a week to heal. If I can get in next week, that might still manage it. Thank you so much.
And with that said, I just want to honor Marco right now, and yeah, hold extra space for Marco. His kindness, his patience, his resilience, his dedication to this room, to everyone, and the collective good. Like, he has been an extraordinary catalyst in my life and growing. And I just yeah, after that I wanted to just honor, like, yeah, just the amazing human being that he is. And we've been through really rough times, and we've had really beautiful times, and now it's kind of evened out. I've been through a lot in the last year, and you know that someone is a true friend and a true heart warrior when you feel that healing, and the person has become a consistent friend. And I want to announce, well, I've already announced this anyway, Marco's like family to me. So yeah, so put your prayers out for Marco. I'm just backing that up double, and we all need to collectively just yeah, come together for each other and double for Marco. So
Thank you.
I'm just backing up that prayer. Backing it up with a little extra love. Love you, Marco. Like I can vouch. God, hear my prayer. This man is amazing. Had to do it.
Kocham cię.
Kocham ciebie też. Polish. Oh, that's a good exercise. How many languages can we say I love you in? Let's go. Jerry, can you say I love you in a different language? Oh, can you say I love you in the tribal language?
No, I was just gonna say it in Spanish, but my head went blank.
Oh,
Over half of our monks are Spanish speaking, so
Spanish.
we have quite a lot of Spanish in our monastery group.
La
And-
encanta.
What was that? Lancata?
La encanta.
Latin canta. Hmm.
Spanish is te amo.
Damn.
French, je t'aime.
Polish is, like we were saying, kocham ciebie.
Korean is sarang habnida.
Oh, Korean. Wow.
Ich lieb dich. German.
Isbrelum to Irish.
Oh. Beautiful. Our global collective. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it just wonderful beyond all the logistics how we can all come together in this room from so many different little pockets of the planet and just talk and be together, you know? Maybe it is that simple. Like we need to grow and kind of figure out the next steps in healing the planet, but we're healing each other by being here. And that's the first step, right? Like putting out prayers for each other, building connections. The world is such an isolating place. So, love and healing for the planet begins with connection with others. And with that said, I have to run. I have to run off to my next call, but love you all. I will be back later. Thank you for sharing space and oh my gosh, I am so blessed. And I'm feeling it today. Thanks you all. Talk to you later.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
all your kind words, Lena.
Marco, you better heal. You get my kind words and my
I know.
there's no like chance you won't heal. Like I just think that you got too much going and yeah, you're gonna heal. We're gonna heal together, right? Like
Yeah.
if there's no separation between you and the collective, right? If the collective's healing, if we all maybe we should put out prayers, but maybe today for Marco, we should all choose our own healing too. We should all choose to love ourselves. We should all choose and send that energy out there, like a true embodied prayer, right? Where we transform so that and send that energy out to the earth. And like if we do that, it'll just indirectly hit Marco, right? Like because when we love ourselves, like that power is impenetrable. So it starts within our hearts. Let's set our hearts on fire for Marco. All right. Love you all. I'll talk to you soon. I'll probably pop back in later.
Hey, Claudia, do you recognize this campfire? That's the one we had 4 years ago still.
Well, I would like to report that the GoFundMe for the Palenque trip is now at 13,811 Canadian dollars of the $30,000 that we're trying to raise. And that's doing really good because on Sunday it was only 5,000, and then we did a 24-hour dance-a-thon and brought it up to 7,000 something. So now they're almost at 14,000. So it's really jamming along. Already 197 people have donated.
Jerry, that's US dollars, I thought. Because
No.
John Ray set it up, didn't they?
It's in Canadian.
Oh, okay.
So that means your American dollars buy more.
Yes. Yes. A Canadian dollar is only 75 cents American right now.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, just chiming in. Good to see you, Jerry. And Claudia, ¿qué pasó, hermana?
Jimmy!
Ellen!
Alan's awake again.
I just woke up.
I
Well,
was just going to say to the Scotsman wake up again.
well, not just woke up. I heard a clip or two from earlier, but I must have fell asleep sitting here.
Don't worry, Danny, I can't understand him either, and we've been hanging together for 4 years.
Was that Jimmy?
Who else would it be?
Jimmy.
Welcome
What's
back,
that?
man.
Thank you.
I can't make you out, Jimmy. Can you say it again?
I said welcome. I said welcome back, man.
Nice fire, Marco.
That's the one we had 4 years ago.
Nice. Sorry, I stepped away for a few seconds.
Yeah, that's okay. This time of day we get pretty casual. Actually, it's still early. Oh,
PJs.
I don't know, it depends on what time zone am I on here.
All of them.
Is Mexico City on a different time than the rest of Mexico?
Yeah, there's 3 time zones in Mexico.
Oh, I didn't think there was room for 3, but
Oh, plenty. And there might even be 4.
oh, oh. Oh.
Oh, so what did I miss?
I think I think he must have slept through the distribution of the gold doubloons.
No, just got them. Can't get rid of them.
Day was pretty much one of the magic days, like we get from time to time, that pushes us forward a little more than a little more than just an ordinary day. Today was pretty special.
Yeah, it looked like it.
I
I saw when was the first lockdown? It's been all day, hasn't it? So it's
yeah, the last few weeks here, Claudia, have been like kind of back in 2020 when we kept collecting one more person and one more person. It's like, oh my God, I found my people.
Well, it's tomorrow here already. For you're still in the 1st of March, aren't you?
Yep.
For 46 minutes, I've been in the 2nd.
How's it? How's the weather in tomorrow?
It's never changed in here, but it's inside, so.
It's still crazy in here. This last week we had 21 degrees and a summer thunderstorm during the day and went down to 4 degrees at night.
You're talking centigrade, right, Marco?
Yeah.
Well, Fahrenheit, that would be a whole nother story.
Be like 20 degrees or not. I mean, I'm not 20, 70, around 70 in the day and then just about freezing at night.
No, you said 20 at night, right?
No, it was 20 during the day, which is 21.
Oh, and
It's
you
about
said 4.
70.
You said 4 at night. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
4 at night. Yeah,
Thank you.
Celsius. But yeah, it's just crazy. Then followed by several days of like 7 in the day, 7, 5, 7, and -3 at night. But one nice summer day and a thunderstorm in between.
Hmm.
When we should have snow on the ground and sub freezing temperatures. I don't think we've had snow that lasted more than a couple days all year. We didn't get any snow until January.
Well, we've definitely got climate change here because you never know if it's going to wake up and it's going to be a roasting hot day, freezing cold day, or a day where you have to reverse it all with a flick of a switch. That was the other day there. It was like far too hot, so switched the heating right off. And half an hour later, it was like icy cold with the switch back on again. But yeah, I'm in a really nice spot for weather phenomena. Looking out the back, it's the field, and the field stretches for miles right over to the mountains. And it's the horizon which faces America. So in the morning, you see the sun sort of rise, but the horizon line kind of comes up like this. And there are certain days where the cloud is either there or it's not there, but sometimes it actually follows the sun. So the sun never rises because the cloud's rising just above it, just above it, just above it. And then there's other days where the sun just manages to pop up just above it and then cloud follows it. So it's like the sun's rising all day. And that's not all the time, but there's just every now and again, there's these rare moments where the sun's either just before, just after, or just on the cusp of the wave as the line rises up in the sky, right across the horizon as well. It's amazing when it's a straight line going straight up. I observed that once and it did it right across the whole sky the whole day, this straight line straight across the whole until it went down the other side. But Marco,
Hello.
most fascinating thing recently was last night, looking out the back window into that field. You know how they say you can never see the point where the rainbow actually hits the ground? Possibly because being upstairs and looking down, as opposed to normally you're sort of down looking out. But the rainbow hit smack bang over the other side of that close by field. You'd have walked to where the actual point of the rainbow smack down on the ground. It was a full rainbow as well, right up, right across, right round and down over there, and landed. Me and Devon were going to actually run over there and see if we could dig a hole and find what's at the end of the rainbow.
Did you get there?
Yeah, it's too far away.
Jerry, can I ask what's the best way to get to Puerto Rico, by plane or boat?
Oh, definitely by plane. Yeah, it's quite a long ways from the mainland.
Airports are pretty good there. I've never, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you would go in and out of San Juan.
San Juan. I've never really thought about Puerto Rico.
Oh, it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, I've had a couple people talk to me about it recently. It's beginning to be like, it keeps coming up, so maybe I'm supposed to be going there. But I understand that when if you buy land there, you own it and there's no taxes.
It's true. There's only $1 an acre taxes for the real estate. But the no taxes is the IRS. There's no, as long as you're there 6 months of the year, every year, there's no IRS taxes on that person.
There's no taxes. I want no taxes.
Hmm.
As long as I can get a taxi there.
I'm It's definitely sounding attractive right now.
Yes. Yes. And it's some of the cool things about Puerto Rico is just driving the country roads. Every like no more than 10 miles, there's going to be a farmer's fruit stand that has fresh fruits and vegetables and honey and all kind of things that have been, wild gathered right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
How are prices?
Pretty much the same. I mean, restaurants are a little cheaper than they are here in the mainland, but pretty close to the same prices.
Okay.
So did I wake up during a deep meditation or an after party or a specific section?
Are you awake now?
I
This
have
might
no
be a
idea
dream.
yet. No idea yet. I'm looking at the screen and everybody looks like they're either frozen, taking screenshots, and nobody's moving and nobody's even blinking. Except Jamie. Oh, there you go. Except Jamie. Jamie's bouncing off the walls. His head's backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards every 5 seconds.
All righty. Well, I've got probably another hour and change with you all. I'm glad we're recording. I propose that we shift topics back to the one of Paul Beckwith, because we keep kicking that can down the road, so to speak. Not intentionally, but just by default. So I just want to make sure everyone has input into that, and I'm happy to recap where we kind of netted out in our previous session. But first, let me see, is that of sufficient interest? I mean, here's where I'm at. The planet's overheating exponentially. We don't know how many months left we have until we go fully Thelma and Louise, right? We could be facing some serious sea level rise that could wipe out a huge percentage of the global economy and a disproportionate percentage of the high tech economy. And, this could really threaten, sea level rise, my goodness, let's not kid ourselves. It would be the last straw, and it would accompany a further, insane losses in reflectivity. We're almost out of Arctic sea ice. Nobody tells you that because they show maps of the shrinking area, but not of the shrinking thickness. The thing,
J-Man,
yeah.
Well, I'm in Trent, but in Musselburgh, one town closer to Edinburgh, they are actually building a sea wall to save they're threatening to do it, apparently. I keep saying to my brother, well, if they build a seawall just for Musselburgh, won't it just come around the edges?
Well, it depends. It depends on the geology of the area.
Yeah.
If there are mountains, like I proposed for Pacifica, California, which Victor probably knows, just a quick drive from the Silicon Valley, on the coast, it's eroding, and like houses and whole apartment buildings are like, tipping over and, giving up the ghost. So I literally propose that should be a topic for consideration, because Pacifica is protected by a bay with significant, rock abutments on either end. Some people would say, oh, it'd be an environmental disaster, and maybe they're right, but I'm just saying, let's at least have the conversation. So, but I mean, these are the extremes at which we've reached. So what I'm saying is, let's work that problem, because you actually get a 2-for-1. It's 2-for-1 deal, at the vegan diner this Saturday. So here's the 2-for-1 deal. You get both, stopping and then reversing global warming, and at the same time you get Chizzy. I mean, who could say no to that? So why don't we I'm just saying, let's focus on that in the time that we have, or I'd propose to do it in the time that I have. And if somebody wants to go to a breakout room to discuss that, great. If others want to discuss other things here in the main room, that's great too. Passing the feather.
As long as it's vegan, Chizzy.
J-Man, I think
they're
already doing a certain amount of SRM. I hear Americans complain about it all the time. The chemtrails, they're creating clouds. One guy actually showed a video of lines, like parallel lines across the sky, and then parallel lines crossing across the sky. So it was a crisscross across the whole sky, and he sort of filmed it over the day as they sort of spread out. And then from a blue sky, it went to fully clouds. And I thought, that's wow. It's like, did they actually do that in America? When I saw 9/11, I had to fly over there to believe it, to see if it really happened. But when I was in the next village over, just the end of last year, they actually did that in Scotland. It's like, I thought, why on earth they got so many military jets flying up there? Because when we see the chemtrails, we know it's like high level planes like military jets. But they did a crisscross in the sky. And ironically, the clouds that actually look like that the wind blows really heavy and rips the clouds into lines. The actual cloud was doing that, and the military was filling the rest of it.
So, all right. So I have a question, Alan. Would you be willing to put the chemtrails topic in the parking lot so that we focus on Paul Beckwith?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got video of it, and it's like, wow.
I'm happy to go to a breakout room, as I said. So But okay, so let's talk Paul Beckwith. Shall I give a brief recap? It'll probably take literally like 3 or 4 minutes to give the
Tell
recap.
us about the Scotsman, the university, Stephen.
Stephen Salter, Professor
He
Stephen
uses
Salter.
salt instead of chemicals. It's much better.
Well, he also passed away 6 days ago, as I wrote up in the email.
What?
Yeah, that I sent out last night. Yeah, Alan and James and Jamie and I were going to go meet him in Edinburgh, Scotland, but he wasn't well enough for that. So anyway, it's a huge loss, and anyway, it just underscores the urgency. We've got to act now, or anyway.
Yeah.
So the message to Paul Beckwith. Shall I recap it?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
It's always a good way to start.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I'm just going to take it. I'm going to talk a little bit of Chizzy, but mostly I'm going to talk about the after party. But the Chizzy, creates the context for it. So Chizzy is the acronym CHSI, pronounced Chizzy, and it stands for Collective Human Superintelligence, which we've been envisioning and dreaming of, and in a sense, not waiting for, but trying to make happen, for, in my case, over a decade now. And we've not been successful. And I think the reason is because we've been inviting people to join these conversations, which seem to them like both pessimism, a secret love child between pessimism and hard work, right? And for no, monetary compensation or whatever. And the collective answer from humanity has been no, thank you. Now, a few weeks ago, we decided to look at it from a different angle. Rather than inviting people to come and do something which seems like work, what if not we, but what if their favorite person, I'm just going to put that in quotes, their favorite person, invites them to a party to get to know them, and for the audience of Paul Beckwith, in this case, to get to know each other, right? And whatever I'm going to say for Paul Beckwith, multiply it by 1,000, because we're going to basically go after the Paul Beckwiths of various different topic areas. The actual Paul Beckwith is all about global warming and its solutions. But we're likewise going to find the Paul Beckwiths of, AI, destruction of the rainforests, animal agriculture, the oceans, the coral reefs, mental health, politics, democracy, censorship, all these different issues, right? We're going to find the Paul Beckwith for each one, but we're starting with Paul Beckwith because the global warming issue is the hottest, pun intended or not. It's simply the hottest, the most urgent. We may have already gone Thelma and Louise, and we're just enjoying the breezy ride through the air, not knowing that our wheels have left the ground. I don't know how far, we just don't know. And to pretend that we can put a time frame on it is absolutely reckless at the level of all life on Earth at stake. So that's why we're focusing on Paul Beckwith first, but again, multiply by 1,000 across all these other issues. Pick your issue. There will be, I guarantee you, an after party. So how does the after party work? All right. So what currently happens is Paul Beckwith's audience, and again, these are the people that we went looking for and said, where are they now? What are they doing now? If they're not coming to our meeting, what are they doing? Well, besides the obvious of work and chores and, recreation and all that and sleep, that leaves some free time. What are people doing with their free time? Where are they going? They're sitting in front of a screen, watching a Paul Beckwith video in total isolation from the rest of the world. So now let's imagine transforming that audience into a community. How might we do that? Paul Beckwith invites his entire audience through a 5-minute infomercial that he publishes on his same channel where he's got 30,000 people, waiting for his next video, right? And he invites his audience to come join him for a watch party, after party combination that he's throwing for all of them. And I want to meet you. My goodness. For these 30,000 plus people, he's their favorite person. So this is their favorite person inviting them to a party. What kind of party? Watch party, after party combination. The watch party is Paul Beckwith's latest video, whatever he is, maybe he'll launch it at the moment that we start the watch party. So if you want to see it first, come to the watch party. And then immediately after we screen share and watch his latest video, then we go into after party mode, where you've got everything from Q&A to speed networking to Glass Beads game to World Cafe to topical, breakout rooms spanning the three major topic groupings of causes of global warming, urgency of global warming. Do we have until 2100 or do we have until this summer? What's the urgency? And finally, solutions to global warming. So the after party will span all of the above and many more. There'll be meetings on universal logic, right? Getting people trained on the the New World Spirit, Hegelian logic, et cetera, et cetera. The ever-living meetings, all the great stuff we experience today. So it'll be all of the above. And what's going to happen? Well, of those 30,000 audience, how many are going to come to the watch party after party? What do you like, 10%? These are people who follow Paul Beckwith and watch his stuff and have never been able to meet him, never been able to meet each other. Suddenly, through the watch party after party, all those problems are solved. And we transform the Paul Beckwith audience into a Paul Beckwith community. That's exactly what we need to do at planetary scale. And we're going to do it one major topic space at a time, one crisis at a time within the poly crisis. Though I bet there will be great, after parties for the, Daniel Schmachtenbergers and the Charles Eisensteins and the whoever else's. I see you, Alan. I'll call on you in a sec. I got you. They will be the Paul Beckwiths of the poly crisis as a topic space, as a mega topic space. So again, you're going to have topic spaces for global warming, mental health, the poly crisis, nuclear war, racism, immigration, hunger, poverty. You're going to have after parties for all these centered around what? The topic? No. Listen to this. People don't follow movements. They follow leaders. Paul Beckwith, like it or not, is about to become a major leader, right? He may not consider himself a leader. He considers himself a physicist who focuses on global warming and its solutions and its severity. All three major topic groupings he covers, right, within global warming. So that's the recap. And Alan, if you have a question about the recap or a comment about it, go for it. Otherwise, we're going to focus.
Well,
yeah.
You over the last, I've been about 2-3 years I've been here, you've mentioned or you've drawn pictures on a whiteboard many times of circles with lines connecting them, and it's conversations with connections and hubs, and you're talking about how all these can be brought together in the different breakout rooms. Picture, where's it back, Marco? The picture behind me is from his movie.
Eisenstein.
Yeah.
That's
it's almost identical to the picture you draw.
Yeah. Because and so that's a great image, Alan. Thank you. That's an image of Chizzy, where each bright light is a conversation, and the lines are connections between conversations. And I give a strong nod and a salute to Stan Pockrus's "The Strength of Weak Ties," the strength of weak connections, right? And we'll have to talk with him about that next time he's in. But that's it. It's a vast and growing network of conversations. But whereas we've been envisioning that for years, and I've been drawing pictures of that for years, to actually get there from here, I'm proposing after parties as the super highway to get there from here. Because where we are right now is a world of audiences. And what we need to do is transform each and every one of those audiences into a community so that we go from a world of audiences to a world of communities. And then those communities become hyper-connected, right? So whereas previously we envisioned a network of conversations, now we're envisioning a network of communities. Whereas think of each community as kind of like a bubble, drawn around a bunch of those conversations, Alan, that you've got in your brain. Imagine you zoom out and you see the whole universe of conversations.
Oh, the zoom out on this is it's the dots and circles become a sphere that encompasses the entire planet. So there's no hub. They're all hubs, and they're all the extremity of the hub at the same time.
That's really interesting, Alan, because if you did map it out, for every conversation out there, whoever the host is of that conversation or the organizer, they live on a specific spot on the Earth, unless they happen to be on a trip to the moon or something like that. So there they are, at some spot on the Earth. Let that be the map. Why not? But what I'm saying is, but you could then reshuffle it and present and represent the same data set. Victor will appreciate the concept of a data cube. You can slice, dice, reorganize that data cube in so many different ways, index it in so many different ways. So imagine that instead of a geographical index as wrapped around the world, as you and I just described, Alan, we had a topical mapping, right? A taxonomy of all topics that are relevant to our objective, which is saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth and escaping the clutches of a malignant AI, or as I said in the last meeting, an Elmer Fudd directed AI, right? Versus the Chizzy AI that's going to, defend us against the Elmer Fudd directed AI. The kill humanity, right? As opposed to kill the rabbit. Anyway, that's the Elmer Fudd directed AI, and I'm saying the Chizzy AI is going to run circles around it because the Elmer Fudd directed AI is operating from a much lower dimensional state in terms of sophistication and consistency with the Hegelian logic and all the principles and facts and truths and blah blah blah, which can be debated to the ends of the earth, but nonetheless there's a general consensus that will emerge, and that becomes our basis. And from there we look at that's our representation of reality, good, bad, or ugly. That's our representation, but we're constantly striving to improve it. But anyway, I'm kind of flying off the handle a little bit, so let me bring it back to Paul Beckwith. Okay, so I've given the recap, right? At its heart, it's Chizzy, collective superintelligence. I'm not sure that, so now let's get down to the brass tacks of what we would suggest that Sienna say to Paul Beckwith when she talks with him, presumably this coming Monday or Tuesday, right? And what I propose, and proposed in the last meeting, so this is also a recap from our last meeting here today, is that she say, okay, Paul, first of all, full disclosure, I'm part of a group, a community that includes some people James Desmond, Marco Elsterman, Mark McCormick, etc., Jamin Shively. And, but let me get straight to the point. Global warming. You've got the best audience in the world for the topic of global warming and its solutions. Simple as that. We're not given to false praise here. You've attracted the best audience in the world, the ones that want to know the truth and who want to get into the details. And you help them with all of that. What we're proposing is that we transform your audience, your Paul Beckwith audience, into a Paul Beckwith community, and that we therefore give a community of humans, a collective human intelligence shooting towards, exponentially growing towards collective human superintelligence, so that we can do everything that is literally now humanly possible. Because what's humanly possible includes humans coming together as Chizzy. That's humanly possible, right? With today's internet connectivity and cheap devices, right? Everyone can play practically. There's the Indian village that has one cell phone. Okay, well, jump on a Twitter space with it, right? Join a Zoom meeting, join this meeting, right? Everyone's got access. So yes, it's humanly possible. We've got to do everything humanly possible. And that means form Chizzy. And that means, yeah.
The picture I had up previously, it's described in what's his name again, Mark? The guy who made the video anyway. He describes the dots not as conversations. He's describing each dot as an individual person.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
At that moment in the video, though, he says that they contact each other through digital, like you're saying, digital means. He says, but when the real quickening happens, is when they meet in person. And when we met in person, we were dancing in the streets.
Absolutely.
Which the idea here.
Yeah. So here I'm not actually restricting anything to strictly online or strictly in person. I'm advocating for both, right? And when we were talking about, for example, doing a big meeting in Santa Fe, which we may still want to do, instead of saying Santa Fe or bust, it's Santa Fe or Zoom. In other words, if you can make it to Santa Fe, come. That gives it that central grounding, right? I think that in person is very important. So, and likewise, we create a whole bunch of these gatherings, maybe post them on Meetup or what's that other, anyway. But all the above. Let's not limit ourselves to anything. Let's not close any doors. And yes, that includes Zoom, Santa Fe or Zoom. So whether in person or online or both, there'll be hybrids, whole groups that'll get together and then they'll join a big Zoom meeting as a group. The point is that we come together, audience by audience, flipping them into communities, going from audience to community. It's like we've got a magic wand with fairy dust, and wherever we see an audience, like a Paul Beckwith audience, whoosh, voila, they transform into the Paul Beckwith community, right? Hello? Anybody home? I mean, is that not the most brilliant strategy? There may be a better one. If anyone knows of a better strategy, out with it, please. Because we're about to make a move on Paul Beckwith. We're running out of time. We've got to act. I'm proposing this as the next action, the next crucial action, because those 3,000 people who come will grow exponentially deep into the millions and then the tens of millions, right? 80 million people is only 1% of humanity. Tell me that there isn't a 1% of humanity who are most concerned about global warming and want to talk about it and want to do something about it. The 1% of humanity that's most motivated, that's 80 million people. And they're all going to find their way to the Paul Beckwith after party, which is going to grow. It's going to outgrow the first dozen Zoom spaces so fast that the meme will go out, BYOZ, bring your own Zoom, right? Bring your own Zoom. Victor, do you have a Zoom account?
Used to.
Okay, well, you can have one again.
So I don't, I'll bring my own cafe, you know.
Bring your own cafe,
Same
that's it,
thing.
BYOC, BYOC, right? Pronounced, gosh. Anyway, it's in your face, BYOC, yeah. Anyway, so let's freaking do it. I mean, is there a better idea out there? If there is, tell me, because I think we nailed it, you guys, and we need and gals, with a nod to Marco. I think we nailed it.
But I think at the moment, anyway, like we're nailing it, right? I won't say we nailed it because I don't believe in nailing anything. Saying, look, we're nailing it as we're going along. That's the way I want to put it, right? And we're nailing it as we're going along because we're still learning, and we can't say we nailed it because we haven't finished anything. So we are nailing it as we go along, is the way I would like to refer to it. As regards to the Paul Beckwith situation, I think what you just said there a while ago in relation to how does Sienna approach it, you then reiterated like what it is we're about, and about what his work is about, and about building a community out of his followers. And I think that's it in a nutshell. That's what Sienna needs to say, and also to actually emphasize as well that we're not asking him to do any extra workload other than maybe make an appearance or a couple of appearances at some of these to explain his videos like he would do on a YouTube video, and we're asking him to advertise the actual you know, after party for his video on his videos. That would be the ask of him really at the end of the day. So there is an ask from us, which is asking him to, first of all, foremost, have a meeting with us to see, so we can expand on the idea. Secondly, then that, you know, if he's willing to just when he puts out his usual videos, as he usually does daily, more or less, that he can advertise an after party space at a certain date and on this link or whatever, and or whatever platform he wants to choose, even X. The point is that the space opens up, and that we could have the after party in this space afterwards, even if it starts in X. You know what I mean? We could do what Sienna was saying by saying, have this conversation initially in X, and then advertise the after party here then in relation to it. Or I would say keep it just simple and plain, keep it on Zoom for the first, and keep it simple for Paul Beckwith. We're inviting him into the space to, at a certain time that he chooses to advertise on his videos, that he's open to conversation with his own viewers, basically. Anyway, the way you said it yourself, I'm only reiterating and repeating what you're saying, or rephrasing it. Point is, yeah, that's it. You nailed it. And that's what I think you should tell Sienna to do, and to do post haste, so to speak, in a sense, like get on it. No, that's one thing we would say then we've nailed, because we got on it, done it, and get Sienna to send that off. Let's not try to, you know, keep it simple. That's what I'm saying. Like, just keep it simple for Sienna, and with that, not too much to say to Paul, so that she can get him in an elevator pitch, so to speak. And that's the main thing you can do. In the meantime, we can be thinking of other people to reach out to, but I'd say, you know, we need a test anyway first, and that's Paul Beckwith. And I think he is, basically, his subject does cover everything is encompassed underneath global warming anyway. Anyway, I'm not repeating myself. I think we are nailed, especially in the conversations that took
My
place.
hand is up.
Oh, sorry, Victor. Carry on, man.
So Jamin, how can we support you? Would it
Just
be
by
helpful?
By
Would it be
continuing this conversation for the next 50 minutes. That's how. It's as simple as that. I may want to screen share some, you know, a meeting that we had with Paul Beckwith.
Jamin.
You get to know him a little better and know how we've related with him. Go ahead, Victor.
So there, what I heard you say is like was that we need to enable Sienna to approach Paul Beckwith.
Right.
And
to clarify, she's going to talk with him, not email him,
right.
talk with him. Back to you.
Right. Would it be helpful to equip her with an artifact of like kind of, I mean, a something like a talk track?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Would it be helpful to equip her with a talk track?
Oh, would that be a voice recording?
No, like something that she'd be able to use to guide her in making the like key points, like that sort of thing.
Would it be text or mixed media?
I'm guessing since she's going to be like having a conversation, that it would probably be, you know, notes.
Okay, so here's what I'd like to invite everyone to do. Type into the chat anything that you would suggest we either include or consider inclusion, and you can make that distinction in the chat.
Jamin,
yeah,
Jamin, I would have loved auto cue on the day. I'll actually screen share it. I would have loved auto cue on this particular day. Remember that day?
Of course I do. Yeah. That's me in Scotland.
That would have been called auto cue. That would have been called karaoke.
Yeah, but anyway, but let's get back to it, shall we? But it is actually noteworthy that we met Paul Beckwith there in Glasgow, Scotland, with me in full uniform singing. And the first time I saw him, I was singing a song and I incorporated his name into the song. And that totally got it. You know, he was stopping and reading our posters anyway. It's like he was really impressed. And so anyway, we've got a good relationship already, but that's in the past. Let's focus on the future. That's a foundation for our future with him. But again, please type into the chat, and I'll do the same, anything we would like to be on the talk track. So I'm going to put in caps in the chat would you call it a talk track, Victor?
That's what I called it. Yeah. I mean,
Talk track.
it's
Okay,
the,
that works
so
for me.
this is coming, you know, from like enterprise sales kind of thing, right?
Sure,
So
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
the way that I'm approaching this is by going back into the transcript, going to the portion where Jamin was on a roll, and I'm going to copy that into ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask it to provide talk track notes.
Oh,
for
that's
the
super
conversation.
cool, Victor. Good for you. Thank you. That is super cool.
Well, I gotta leave, but good luck with all you're trying to do here. Sounds like things are moving along in a good direction. So let's hope it keeps doing that.
And exponentially, Jack. Hey, great to see you, Jack. But we're not trying, we're doing for Yoda.
All right, I'll go for that. So
James has his hand up.
hasta luego.
Hasta luego, Lego my ego. Thanks, Jack. All right, I'm typing stuff into the chat. So this is Paul Bunyan versus the machine.
So Mark, Jamin, when Decouple Media did the recording of you.
Wait. Decouple Media, did you say?
Yeah, Decouple Media, they've got on their own channel, they've got a broadcast, a very well edited broadcast interviewing you. I mean, that's the one I always say. It's a good example. I'm always saying how polite and how respectful you are to everyone that came up and spoke to you. I've got the making of.
Yeah, we could include the video of what was that Canadian doctor? What was their thing? Anyway, there's two guys that did that really nice interview.
I'm going to screen share just a 2 seconds clip just to remind you his face if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. Him.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's it right there. That's the one. Yeah, go ahead and play the first couple of minutes, or give me the link, and I'll be happy to.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. But I think I'm sharing sound already. Tell me if it works.
Well, hello. This is Jesse Priest for Decouple. I'm here in my temporary home studio in Belgium, where I'm working on some new videos about what we might call the Great European Energy Pickle. More on that come. Of late, Decouple's been very...
That's breaking up for me, so I'm going to send you the link. Is that breaking up for you?
Sounds good, Alan. Yeah, it's breaking up all over the place. Yeah, just give me the link.
There's the link.
Thank you. All right, here it goes. So this is actually interesting and relevant because it shows the first impression we ever made upon Paul Beckwith, and that first impressions are very important. All right, so I'm going to screen share this and zip ahead to where he starts talking about us, which is just like a minute and a half in or something like that. So I'll just screen share.
Y'all see that okay? Hear that okay?
You can see it.
Okay, good.
Actual plan is to get off fossil fuels. Turns out getting straight answers from German or Canadian officials on that question is about as difficult as trying to get all the popcorn kernels to pop without burning any of them. One person that did give us some straight answers though was Hollywood's most misunderstood parent himself, Darth Vader. We found the Dark Lord just outside the gates of COP26 singing 80s musical parodies about geoengineering.
Won't you come see about these? We've got solutions to exponential planetary overheating.
Vader turned out to be Jamin Shively, a former executive at Microsoft and an early advocate for and investor in legalized cannabis.
There's a high-powered new business venture in the works to create a national brand to sell, and want to be precise, to sell marijuana. It's the brainchild of a former Microsoft high executive and the former Mexican president, Vicente Fox.
The Berlin Wall of the prohibition of cannabis is weak.
For me, the question here is, will Shively turn out to be as prescient about geoengineering as he was about cannabis?
When you walk away, what are you walking away from? Actual solutions to planetary overheating. Actual solutions that we can implement that will actually cool the planet, as opposed to this myopic focus on decarbonization. Don't get me wrong, decarbonization, great, wonderful. It's just too little too late at this point, having crossed through tipping point after tipping point.
So this is Jamin Shively.
At your service.
Wonderful. Civil and environmental engineer. You studied hydroclimatology.
Yes.
MIT, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, just giving a taste of that. So that was Paul Beckwith's first impression of us. We then met with him and Dr. Ye Tao of Mere Reflection, another SRM solution that you'll hear about more later. And so we hung together in Glasgow, and then James organized a wonderful meeting. If somebody can find the clip, Alan or James or Marco, somebody want to find that one from early 2022. You know what I'm talking about, right? It was done in 2 parts. Anyway, we can just
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Hey, you want me to find it? I can find it. You know, if nobody else wants to, if somebody volunteers.
I'm looking for it, but it'll take me a minute. I'm a little bit slow right now.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Done the I have started my evening medicating.
Okay.
All right, let me see. That's not it.
While you're looking for it, Marco, I'll just remember that we were standing there in Scotland. What's the name of the rebellion, Extinction Rebellion? They came along and they just flash danced to Jamin singing. And I never quite got it on camera, but there's like 3 or 4 times the security guards and even the policeman started dancing. As soon as you pointed the camera, apparently they're not allowed to dance, but they didn't want to be caught doing it. But the police and the security guards were dancing. At one point they shouted out, what was the song they asked you for, the request from the Eurovision comedy movie?
Oh, shoot.
Eurovision, because he's got this Eurovision song and he sings it all the time, and the local pub audience always shouts, "Play!"
I found it, you guys. I got it. Hold on a second.
You got what's the title on it?
Huh?
What was the title on it?
Things they don't want you to know about global warming. Hey, Sienna, welcome back, sister. I'm here for the next like 40 minutes, and we're recording and we're preparing for you. We're like brainstorming, and so we're going to play just a quick little video clip of Paul Beckwith. Actually, do you see this one? This was me and
Wonderful. So tell me more what you're about, what you're doing here in this wonderful outfit.
Yeah.
Probably half hour.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, I'll be available.
So I've always been an activist in different causes throughout my life, and as an environmental engineer, I have deep knowledge that goes back decades about the problem of exponential planetary overheating.
Right.
And it's not climate change; it's global warming. The planet is getting hotter as a whole.
More energy is being trapped.
Exactly, and so the right thing to do now. The planet's on fire. We've got to put out the fire.
Cada momento voy tropezando en desamor, y es que no queda nada entre tú y yo.
So, do you agree with the Dark Lord?
Anyway, so that was from Glasgow, Scotland. That's when we first met Paul Beckwith. So that was his first impression of us. What was our first impression of him? Here, let me screen share this other cool video that I'm proud to say that James put together, and the whole meeting and everything. So this will teach you a little about Paul Beckwith. So here's John Doyle.
My engineering and scientific knowledge. I would be.
All right, let's fast forward ahead. Okay, here's Dr. Silent. Oh,
Jamin.
Yeah.
About it.
I think you
But
should
when she
just
was
go
born, I held her in my arms.
What's that?
I think you should just go back to what John Doyle was about to say there, just that sentence
First
there
time,
alone. And just
when she was
go
a month
jump Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you all for being here. First and foremost, anyway, it's a pleasure to have you here for this conversation. And I'll just introduce myself. My name is James Desmond. I'm from Cork City in Ireland. And just an overall view quickly is that I've been aware now of the climate issue and been, working with a number of people on, different topics of it, and how do we look and think about.
Delighted to do so. Who has the cat? I hear a cat. It's fantastic. No? Oh, it's wonderful, because I have two dogs sitting behind me, which is hilarious. So yeah, and I know Shackleton is far more famous than Paul will ever be. So it's wonderful to see that we've got animals here. So John Doyle is the name. Worked in the commission for a large number of years. Back in about 2004, I was proposed to join this very select band who were doing something called the Lisbon Strategy, which was to make of Europe the most competitive.
Is this the one you wanted to share, James?
Yeah, it's only his brief introduction, but I think what he says is very poignant to why we are reaching out to Paul Beckwith as well.
Okay, here goes.
Knowledge-based society in the world, and it was all very interesting. We had sort of horizontal as well as country responsibilities. We were going around places, meeting terribly important people and setting them objectives. And I got my work done fairly quickly. Maybe I was lucky I got some easy countries to do, or maybe I'm just quite quick. And then I found myself bored, always a dodgy thing to be, and walked down the corridor in the Berlaymont and came across two wonderful women who were writing the first ever sustainable development strategy. And of course, being an arrogant male Irish engineer, I was just sniggering at this crap. I had no idea what it meant. I thought it was, what you club of what? Rome, who are they? The whole thing was comical to me. And
But then I started talking to them. Then I met a wonderful man that many of you will know, the marvelous David Wasdell of the Meridian Project in the UK. And then I realized what was actually going on. And I often say to people that I walked into that bloody room and I never walked out. So some 20 years later, I'm still essentially in that room, staggered by what I discovered there and what I have tried to do since. I've realized only recently, probably due to COVID lockdown, that much of what I have tried to do since was both arrogant and misplaced. It consisted very largely of shouting at people and telling them how stupid they were, and trying desperately to get people to pass legislation and change things. I even succeeded in getting legislation passed that changed nothing. So at the beginning of the COVID lockdown, I had a kind of a series of revelations that I found. I found myself going more into myself, trying to understand feelings, trying to understand the broader concept of what it is to be a human being in this world. As distinct from purely a scientist or a techie or an engineer, what does it mean to be a human being in this world? And then what I've come to see as, in all probability, these end times. And it certainly seemed to me to take me a little bit away from shouting and screaming at people and telling them that they were just idiots. I realized that the system is actually the people. So it's remarkably easy to have a bunch of people in a pub in Ireland agree that the Chinese should stop using coal-fired oil plants. But it's remarkably difficult to get the Irish to agree that maybe we should eat less beef. It's remarkably easy to get the European Union to sort of say, oh, we should reduce those emissions that are very easy for us to reduce. But China should reduce its emissions on making all the things that we actually use, that we don't count the embedded emissions. It's remarkably easy to get everyone to agree that it's somebody else's problem. And there comes a point where you suddenly realize that this is maybe the nature of things. And I try to give a fresh perspective whenever I'm speaking for fear of repeating myself. So one of the things I've had to come to terms with is facing the world as it actually is, rather than the way I would like it to be, which is a hell of a challenge. So one of my big heroes died recently, a wonderful man called Desmond Tutu. He was a big friend of the Irish, a great character, loved a pint of Guinness. And as Bob Geldof said in a recent obituary, he was the most wonderfully entertaining man and must have been an absolute nightmare to live with. And I thought, yes, Bob definitely knew this guy. And one of the things that struck me about Tutu was, I was still in my late teens when he set up the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, and I'll never forget watching, possibly not live, but certainly very soon after it was done, the moment when they reenacted the killing of Stephen Biko. It was incredible, and he got the police officers to kneel on the floor and show how they. And then there was another white lady whose husband was into conservation or something. She said, we just answered the door and 3 guys just blew my husband's head off and his brains went all over my children. And but there was something about this. I was thinking, oh, this is such an extraordinarily different thing to do. This man seemed to be plugged into some kind of humanity that was stunning to me. It blew me away. And he was always a huge hero in my mind. But his best mate, Nelson Mandela,
Chairman,
to the day he died, believed passionately in the violence.
sorry, man. You can. What I meant to say was, you know, where you caught him in the talk, and when you came into the video first, he was just about to say a sentence. It must be near the end of what he was where he's talking there, like. But it's only mainly the end sentence that he comes up with, or his last statement. That's very poignant. And then,
all right. Do you want me to try to find it, or should we just leave that in the parking lot?
Kind of scroll them along there just until you see where he's at the end, and then go back a little bit.
All right. Oh, so it's a little before the end then. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
What should we be doing? Where should our hearts be? How should we be behaving? in the East, the tradition is that right action is its own reward. No attachment to the outcomes. So that's what I'm trying. Now, this does not mean I'm not working furiously with friends and energy transitions and all sorts of stuff. I love participating in these things. As I have all sorts of ideas that I still try and push through, and et cetera, et cetera.
I think it was just prior to that,
that won't stop. Acknowledge, I would be 100% certain that there will not be human beings on this planet in about 15 years. I'm not saying it'll be a smooth transition. I don't know when the dart will hit the board. And that is, I consider that a scientific certainty. Nevertheless, it might not happen. And it's not relevant whether it happens or not. That's, I think, what I'd like to bring to this meeting, because it doesn't matter what is going to happen. What matters is how we behave. I've found myself increasingly thinking that when people say to me,
what
do you mean we can't do anything about it? And I say, well, if we can.
All right, so there's Dr. Silas Rao, who's spent probably hundreds of hours in this Zoom room of ours. And there's James again, and Paul. All right, here we go.
Really concisely break down what's happening with our systems for the average person to understand. So I'd like Paul to maybe, if you could take Paul from where I would have been expecting Professor Wadhams to give us a talk about what's happening in the Arctic, and you may take it from there and tell us a little about how the tipping points and that are coming into play because of that are affecting our systems in general. Thanks, Paul.
Well, thank you. And if there is a bit of background noise, it seems like there's some cows in the room up above me. I'm in the basement and I hear people, it's an old house and people are sort of puttering around in the kitchen. It sounds like there's elephants or cows up there. So anyway, thanks for asking me to be on this, James and James. Yeah, so you're probably, I'm not going to go into a lot of details about my, like I do, you know, you all know I do the videos, many YouTube videos on the climate system, abrupt climate system change, and also have my blog paulbeckwith.net. And you know, I've been very concerned about the rapidity of climate change for many years. You know, we constantly hear in the news or read about climate is happening much faster than expected. You know, all these unexpected extreme weather events, etc. So if everything continues to be happening faster than expected and unexpected, we obviously have to change our expectations. I'm talking about the climate community. Okay, they need to really step up to the plate. There has been a lot of reticence, as James Hansen has talked about, within the scientific community about you know, how quickly things are changing, you know, about talking, you know, people watching sort of guarded talk, not saying what they really think and feel about the system. And of course, science is very siloed. You know, you have people studying one specific aspect of the climate system, be it a glacier or, you know, one little tiny aspect, and not making a connection to the overall system. So we need more and more people in academia and people making policy in government, et cetera, who are thinking about the overall system. So, you know, we know that you know, our emissions have pushed the climate so far in terms of changing the chemistry of the atmosphere and oceans, and the way that heat is stored on the planet, and the way that heat is distributed from the equator to the poles via the ocean circulation and the atmospheric patterns, the jet streams, of course. You know, we've changed the entire system. We've been hitting it with a sledgehammer for a long time. And it's no surprise that we're in a lot of trouble now, that it's changing. And, with the loss of Arctic sea ice and the darkening of the Arctic, of course, that's in a sort of a spiral feedback loop, self-reinforcing feedbacks, which is going to lead to complete loss of Arctic sea ice very, very soon. And, then the extreme weather events that we are subject to around the planet will get worse and worse, and it will become more and more difficult to grow food, and thus leading to the global food shortages. And whenever a time frame or schedule is given in academia, in peer-reviewed papers, within a few years, it's always modified to be much faster than what people expected. So, I was just looking this morning, Mike Farragon in Scotland sent me a graph from Barrow, Alaska, of methane, for example. And the graph started in 1988 and goes to now. In the 13 years, the methane rose about 100 parts per billion, or 7.7 parts per billion per year. In the last year, the methane has risen almost.
I'll include the link in the chat. Let's just see if he's got any interesting final comments or anything, because anyway, and watch it whenever you feel like it.
Trucker protest or occupation. I see it as societal disruption. I see it as a path along the way to complete collapse of democratic governments under the huge onslaught of abrupt climate system change. A perfect example is, at the New Year's, right? The Colorado wildfires, which tore through, it actually burned down, many homes of people that work at NOAA and work on weather forecasting, University of Denver. So many climate scientists and meteorologists were directly affected and lost their homes and city, villages, etc. So it's hitting home to everybody. So is Stephen next? We absolutely, need funding to follow these to deploy, to build equipment and deploy and get moving on it. But
yes, I agree 100%. I mean, initially a couple of years ago, we heard of Dr. Ye Tao's mirror reflection program, and it seems one of the least invasive methods that's been proposed. But as you know, given the essence of the time and scale and everything involved with the heating and the imminent heating and warming, that could actually go beyond any intervention.
Yeah, I mean, just wait till the next El Nino hits, in a couple of years, a year or two or three, whatever, when we get the next El Nino warming event, it's going to blow away any records, and
exactly.
Maybe it'll be a wake-up point.
I was also grateful for the fact that in your COP26 recap video that you spoke out and told the truth about the the changing of the industrial age, the time on the dates, letting people think, oh, we're only 1.2, but if we really add in the 1750 line of the pre-industrial age, you're actually adding another 0.3 onto that 1.2 that's already been admitted. So they're lying to people saying we have to keep it below 1.5, when we all know here we've gone past 1.5 by now anyway. So the essence is the heat. The essence is trying to do something about cooling the Arctic, and the only viable and non-invasive and affordable, just unbelievably crazy affordable, plan and solution for this is the only one that I've heard is from Professor Stephen Salter from the University of Edinburgh. And I'm actually very proud of the fact as well that Professor Salter's work is follows on the actual studies and findings of Professor Sean Toomey, a fellow Corkman, who was in 1971 found, you know, all these information about cloud albedo and everything else, which led on to John Latham and Al Gideons, and now Professor Salter, an engineer.
I'll put that in the chat so you can watch the whole thing. Professor Salter passed away just 6 days ago. We just found out yesterday when we were talking with Hope, and we were mentioning him in his work, and we just found out, and it's a huge loss. Is a dear friend, and Professor Salter, please guide us from above.
Lord of mercy, I was going to say that earlier, but unfortunately it came in the middle of the chat was going on, and I thought we should at some stage have said, you know, had a minute silence for the man, and our respect for them anyway, and with the help of God, you know, his work won't be for naught. You know what I mean? That we'll see to it that it comes to fruition. So yeah, I was Lord of mercy on him, and you know, may the Lord lift up his countenance on him, and may he rest in peace. That's all I'd say. God bless.
Thank you, James. May His Spirit guide us.
Amen. Amen. Please be with us, Professor Salter, and rest in peace with all of our love and gratitude. I mean, his engineering is literally now a critical component of saving life on Earth. Take that one out, and frankly, I don't know how we make it. So let's not be negative. We only got a few more minutes, and then before Melissa and I have to take off.
James, you did such a great job on that interview with those guys.
It was so beautiful. And listen, did you hear the last thing Paul Beckwith said? Hey, is Professor Salter up next?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You know, and you could tell in the tone of his voice that gives him hope. So anyway, that's just another important component. But I think by now we've gotten a pretty good taste of, you know, our interactions with Paul Beckwith. And you know, we've been recording all this, and go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Sienna.
Oh, yeah, I thank you for posting that. And when was that interview?
That was early 2022, after we met in Scotland in November 2021 at the COP26 conference.
Okay. No, that was very helpful for me to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna probably try to do a deep dive in videos of his videos tonight before I reach out to him. But yeah, I'm like overwhelmingly excited about the potential of this group, honestly. Yeah, I'm having so many like profoundly exciting epiphanies in kind of the thought process, and you know what I'd like to try to help incorporate into, you know, what you're doing. And I think it will honor and respect and just kind of be just a welcome flow to what you guys have been masterfully preparing and working on. You know, I told Jamin yesterday, I feel like I've been doing advanced team on this for a long time. So, you know, I'm very much a behind the scenes kind of logistics person, but I'm a really good behind the scenes logistics person. So, yeah, I'm just excited. And I'm in a very meditative place today, so I apologize if I look like I'm falling asleep. I'm just, I go into very, 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 very deep meditative trances, and I just happen to be in one today. So, yeah, I onward and upwards, you know, be the change that you want to see. And I don't, any of the negative stuff with AI, I think there's still a window of time to make sure that the best outcome occurs. You know, when the video said, you know, in 15 years, there might not be any humans. That is only if the right minds aren't in charge of the conversation. So that's why this moment is of such dire importance. You know, it's let's have the right people in charge of the conversation, and we can write the future narrative. period. And from what I am shown, and all I do is channel information. Everybody needs to know that I am not somebody special. I just have tapped into something that is available to any human being on the planet, anybody. And once you tap into it, the answers to anything you're looking for just appear. Some call it Akashic Records, some call it, whatever it is, connection with God's source consciousness. It just is. It is a thing, and I am shown answers that other people, for whatever reason, aren't privy to. That's all. That's all I have to say. But I'm shown a lot of answers, and I have no agenda. I have nothing to sell, nothing to gain. I'm just a disabled house mom artist who wants to retire soon. So I just want to lay that out there. But I do have a very specific role in helping humanity get to the next stage, and in a sense of higher homeostasis for all. I do think that that's possible, but only if the right people are leading the conversations. So with that, I am going to pass the mic. Yeah.
iPhone, the right situation is no agenda, singing and dancing.
Alan. So seeing as we have to go soon, and Melissa has some comments, and then you're right after Marco. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Awesome. Good to see you again. Yeah, thanks, Sienna. I just wanted to add that we are not in the driver's seat. The universe is in the driver's seat, and there must be a master plan, right? A bigger plan. I really like what Rudolf Steiner channeled back in the day, like, I don't know, early 1900s, when he said that at the end times, which I understand are the times we're in now, if humanity's time has come, we've run our course, we've been through these different stages of evolution. We might be at the end stage of us being in these physical bodies and in the state that we're in. He said the best thing we can do is to be in a state of complete compassion, because that will then take us to the next level, wherever it is. And I've done a lot of research in his work, and he talks about human evolution. We weren't always on the earth. He talks about us inhabiting other planets before we came in to be earthlings. So who knows, we might be headed for some other star somewhere, after this. That doesn't mean to not do the work we're doing, of course, because this is compassionate work. But I just always like to remind us that we are channeling higher power that's coming through us. I know, Sienna, you already know that. Yeah. Thank you. And it's snowing in California. Do you guys see 8 to 10 feet in the Sierra Nevadas?
Yeah.
Yep. They're having blizzard conditions. Whidbey Island and the Pacific North Coast are getting really weird weather patterns. It snows one day, then it's 58 degrees, and now it's high winds. There are early hurricane warnings on the coast of Florida already, really early for this time of year. So it's just hard to believe people can still deny what's going on.
No, they can't, and they're not. And that's really our opportunity. And that's why this is going to grow such a quick exponential whoosh, because humanity will finally see that humanity is coming together, and very few people are going to want to miss that boat. Passing the feather.
I'm gonna dip out and get some dinner ready also. But so this was fun. What I noticed is that there's so much text in the transcripts here that I can't just sort of copy and paste it into to ChatGPT and get a response. Instead, I had to integrate it with my code so that I can just do it on the fly, take a whole bunch of content and then send it to the API for processing, which still has a bit to do in order to make that more legible. But what I did was pass it as speaker's notes into a reply to your email, Jamin. So, I mean, you can take that as as like a starting point for speaker's notes in approaching Paul Beckwith. So thank you for like the opportunity to like make something. Now going forward, I can like clean up or have it. I can start iterating on it so that when we have something that we want, an artifact that we want to generate like in real time, then I can just like copy paste, send, copy paste, and like provide. Then we've got like artifacts. Neat. So let me know if that ended up being helpful. And it's been fun, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victor. That sounds awesome.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, we're all just, the beautiful thing is we're all coming together, and we're basically forming a new species. In the Cambrian explosion, we went from unicellular to cellular. Now in the Chizzy explosion, that's a nice visual. We are going from, a bunch of individual, relatively isolated humans, per my story from earlier, to a multi-human new species. It's Cambrian explosion all over again. Anyway, we're gonna have to roll here. Oh yeah, we got Gretel. Yeah.
Gretel says, "Love you all. Bye."
Oh, Gretel.
Hey, Gretel.
Keep listening to Jamin. He's really smart. I like his stuff. Where's the treats? Okay.
Love you guys.
Love you all. See you.
Hey,
Should I start a new recording? Is anyone opposed to starting a new recording? And then we're just gonna leave.
yeah, start a new one and carry on, yeah, and
Okay.
off you and
Yeah.
enjoy.
Lots of love.
Love to Melissa.
Bye.
Love and Chairman. Get on with it and stop talking. You're delaying your missus. Come on.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. New recording.